Hey guys, it's Clovis, and today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to rank your monsters up in Duelists of the Roses. Now, there's a few tutorials out there which are all pretty good, and something I use for a long time, but I believe this is the fastest possible method to do it. What we're going to be doing is using a select group of monsters in the game that you can fuse a couple monsters to create. But unlike most fusions in the game, the monsters we're going to be using monsters you can create with fusions of non-strict material. So it's not like, Black Skull Dragon where you have to use Red Eyes Black Dragon and you have to use Summon Skull. These are fusions where you can use different monsters. And so I'll just show you my deck quickly. The important things you need are a few Gorgon's Eyes, a few Tremendous Fires I have here. You can use any spells that increase your life points or lower the enemies, but you'll want to add a few in case the enemy ever uses it. Because if you only put one of these in the deck and the enemy uses it, there will be no way to, make sure your life points are higher. And most of the rest of your deck will need to be fusion materials, which I'll quickly clear out, so I can show you a bit more about them after. You can add a few Solomon's Lawbook as well, just to draw out cards faster, and the rest of your deck that isn't the monsters should just be trap cards. Because if the enemy ever plays a trap or a spell card, they'll put it in defense mode and we can stun it with our Gorgon's Eye. So let's go into the library here. There's a few monsters I can show you. Look down in the description, I've got an almost complete list of monsters you can use. But I'll just show you a few examples here. So Cursor Dragon, you can make using any 1600 strength dragon with a 1600 strength zombie, which is the rule I use. So you can fill your deck up with like Zombie Dragon, which is 1600 attack, Ghoul with an Appetite, which is 1600 attack, but then also add like Crawling Dragons, Meteor Dragons, stuff like that. So because we can have 3 of Meteor Dragon and 3 of Crawling Dragon, we can have 6 of these, and then say 3 Zombie Dragons and 3 Ghouls the Appetite, which means we'll be able to create up to 6 Cursor Dragons. And the whole reason we want that is we want to bring out as many monsters as we can fit on the field to level that up as fast as possible, which the max is 5. So why don't we pick a nice fusion? Dark Witch, I think we'll go for these. There we go, Dark Witch. So to create Dark Witch, you need to fuse a fairy with a light female, I believe. That's the rule I use, so what I'm going to do is find Dark Witch, which will be in the fairy section, obviously. Dark Witch. There it is, okay. In fact, I'm just going to empty out this deck, because I need some of the cards in this deck. Okay. So yeah, well, what we're going to do is mostly fill up our deck with fairies and then light females. Because there's female fairies, you can just use them as well. Which that's what I'm going to do, just to make it a bit quicker to construct the deck here. Alright, cool. And normally, obviously, you want to have whatever you're ranking up to be your deck leader, but I don't actually have a level on my Dark Witch, so I can't do that, so I'm just going to put Hourglass of Courage as my deck leader. So the deck, quickly brushing through, we just have a bunch of fusion material for the card we want to bring out. Then we have some Gorgon's Eyes, a bunch of trap cards, Solomon's Lawbook. But another good thing to have, actually, is a Raigeki, because if the enemy ever do decide they want to play a monster, we'll be able to destroy it with a Raigeki, so once we have our deck set up, we want to make sure that we have a map set up as well. So I'll quickly go into the edit map section, which you need to beat both sides of the game to unlock. And then we'll go into the edit map section here. So you want to make sure these 2 tiles at the top are crushed terrain, and all these surrounding tiles here are labyrinth terrain. Now, if you had this tile as labyrinth terrain and you only left the box open where the enemy spawns, they would lose the duel straight away, which completely ruins the point. But the fact that this tile is the only tile they can play anything and it's a crushed terrain, they'll only ever be able to play one card in front of them, and they'll always prioritize the fusion if they have it in their hand. So because they know that the fusion will die in the crush terrain, if the fusion ever pops up in their hand and they want to create it, they will literally play nothing. And that's kind of what we want. On the contrary, if they do play a spell or a trap, they usually play it in defense. Even if they activate it like a Tremendous Fire, they usually flip it up and activate it in defense mode, which you can stun it with a Gorgon's Eye. And that lets us skip the turns later faster. As for the rest of the field, it really doesn't matter what you pick. I had it as Yami because it's easier on the eyes. It doesn't really matter. As long as those top 9 tiles are the Labyrinth and the Crush, the rest of this doesn't actually matter. So now that we've set up that map and we've got the deck that we want, that's all we need. Make sure your SP charge rate is maxed out, just to let us bring other monsters out faster, guarantee we can always summon something. And then we're ready, so we can just go straight into the duel here. Again, as I said, there's a few methods on YouTube that show you a relatively fast way, or what is perceived to be the fastest way to level up the monsters, but this method's kind of the same, just faster. So all we're going to do is try and bring out our monsters as fast as possible. Here we only have 2 summoning stars there, so I'm not going to play. So that's why we've added the Raigekis in here. Here he's opted to play a monster, and he's kind of just leaving it there because he can't move it. So whenever we bring out a Raigeki, we'll be able to kill that. So here we go. I'm hoping that after I kill this monster, he won't be able to play anything, or he'll try to play a spell or a trap card. But we'll have to wait and see till next turn. I'm just going to flip my Solomon's Law book up here so I can actually play something. The Solomon's Law book isn't that fast, like the animation kind of is slow. But we also want to play a Tremendous Fire to make sure the enemy deck points are lower. Again, if you don't have Tremendous Fire, you can just use Rukazi, or you can just use like a Goblin Secret Remedy to make sure your life points are higher than theirs. As long as your life points are higher than theirs, it doesn't matter what you use. So there you go. So what's happening here is the enemy actually has a Dark Witch Fusion in their hand, I believe, and that's what they want to play over their spells or traps or anything. They want to bring that monster out, but if they played it on the Crush, it would die, so they just opt not to play it. And that's kind of really important. If they did play a spell or a trap, we could just they would play it in defense mode, and then you can just stun it with a Gorgon's Eye, which is pretty much the same thing. But now that we got all that sorted, like we've got our priorities, we're just going to start bringing out our Dark Witches. Alright, so now that we have 5 Dark Witches on the field, as you can see, as opposed to having 3 of one monster out to level up, we now have 5, which is literally, yeah, almost twice as fast as the other methods that use just the 3 monsters here. But even faster now is when we go to the enemy here, normally, if they had a card in front of them, every turn, because of the way the AI works, they would select their own deck leader, put it on the same spot, then go to this card, select it, put it on the same spot, and then go back. And that takes too much time. So because what we've manipulated the deck and map and everything so that he's not playing something here. This means that every turn he skips, he's only just gonna highlight himself and then skip his turn. So this is kind of the second part of it here. In what we're saying in that it's the fastest method possible. Because the skipping turns part is much faster, and the actual experience we're getting every single turn is a lot faster as well. So as you can see here, we won the duel after all those turns we've skipped. And because we had all those monsters out, all that time, every turn we skipped, they gained experience for that. So as you can see, our Dark Witch has been promoted. when we go back into the deck, you'll be able to see that that monster has not just ranked up, but ranked up by quite a significant amount. We went from having no stars at all to the captain rank. And for fairies, within one duel, we've already got ourselves a leader ability, increased strength for same type friendlies. And considering Dark Witch is 5 stars, that means she would get the full benefits of that ability. So, you know, normally you would be taking hours and hours, you know, leveling up, like, I don't know, like a Summon Skull or Skull Knight or something, you know, trying to get an ability, and it takes hours and hours. But here, in one duel, we've managed to get a captain rank on a monster from nothing. And we've even got ourselves an ability as a result. So yeah, take this method with you for any fusion material. Again, if you check the description, I have a nearly complete list of fusions, so there's some for every type, I believe, or most types at least. And yeah, just pick a monster you want to level up and try this method if you want to level up your monsters as fast as possible. Thanks a lot for watching.